Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anu Laitila, and I'm coming from Nixu Cybersecurity. Today, we have approximately an hour, and we're going to discuss, and I'm going to present you a case, how to manage a human risk in cybersecurity. Very often, people only think that cybersecurity is all about technical stuff, but I think my opinion is that it's much more wider topic. Before we go to today's agenda, so I work as a cybersecurity awareness business manager. So basically my role is to spread joy of cybersecurity and train people. And I actually already noticed that there is some people I probably have been training before this session, example last autumn. And I'm actually in charge of all cybersecurity awareness related activities and projects at Nixu, including also exercises. And I have been working at Nixu 2.5 years now, and I think I will be working there quite a long time as I have an interesting project ongoing. A couple words about Nixu, unless you are not familiar with it. So there's around 400 cybersecurity specialists at Nixu, and Nixu is a Finnish company, we could say a consulting house, and you can get any kind of services from SOC to awareness and digital identity and so on. We are based, the headquarters is here in Finland, in Espoo, and we also located in Denmark, Sweden, Romania, and also Netherlands. And we already, I would say, middle-aged company, so we were founded in 1988. And you can find our website at nixu.com if you want to have a look of more details. But let's go to the agenda. So today we're gonna go through how we can put that human in the center, and especially why. And then what is elements of successful security awareness program. Then I give you some examples of the activities. There are some examples, especially for OT environment as well. As we know, the requirements can be quite different to that area than the normal office worker. Then we're going to summarize things, and then obviously there is some time for questions and answers. And I really encourage you to ask questions already during this session, because otherwise you're going to most likely forget the questions. And then have a look of the emoji buttons on the top row. I will be asking some questions in the moment, so I hope you can react to those. But hey, let's get started. I'm going to start this with the questions. So have you participated in cybersecurity training in your organizations? If you say yes, so go and press the emoji thumbs up. If it's no, there is a surprised face, and then there is a smiley face for cannot remember. So let's have a look. We have yes and no's at least already. Go for it. Can you find they are on the top row? I think we have more no's currently than a yes. That's very typical, actually. Okay, that's actually very typical that voting reveals that it's actually quite sad fact that the organization might not train enough their employees. That's the case, and that's how we go into kind of a deep dive the topic today. So let's discuss next why all organizations should put their employees in the center and concentrate on improving their cybersecurity know-how and practical skills. So here are a couple of facts. So there's a people influence, there's a number one threat, and then there are some figures. So these are quite stunning facts, actually. So I believe that when we put the human in the center, we can create a human firewall. And people influence far more to the security than any technologies. This is according to Gartner. And if we're thinking about the attacks are due to the human error, quite a lot of them, 95%. And typically they coming via users' inbox. Well, in OT environment, we also know that number one threat is malware infiltration via external hard drive or hardware and removable media. So it could be, example, the USB stick that many people could put in the computer. We actually recently hosted an exercise for their OT environment company, and we had a scenario where summer trainee started to charge the phone. There was a computer somewhere near the coffee area, and this summer trainee did not have the plug for the cable, so he just stick the cable, the charger, on the first computer he saw, and the mobile had some malicious software in it, and it was going to the computer through the cable. So someone could, there could be a big impact of these kind of cases as well. And then if we look into the phishing information, we can see that around 30% of the people, they open phishing messages, and that is quite a big number. We had a training recently where the company showed they started around, I think it was 28%, and now they under 2%. So that's an excellent number, and that's where every company should go when the awareness of the phishing messages. And this is obvious for office workers. It's we know that in OT environment, it's often also the case that not every people or person has their own email address. They may have a one computer that they use, but that could be often used for personal use as well. But let's move forward. This is something I have been hearing a lot since I joined cybersecurity industry 2.5 years ago. So very often people say that people are the weakest link. But after all, cybercriminals use people as the primary vector for cyber attack to get inside the organization's systems and networks. And we actually shouldn't really say that people are the weakest link. We should say people are not the weakest link, but they are actually a primary attack vectors for criminals. As this also implies that people are not to blame, and we cannot blame them if they do a mistake. We often should look back that have we actually even trained the best practices? I give you an example. In the Finnish schools, it's very often the case that people need to, or students need to run a Cooper test. So 12 minutes of running and go as far as you can. Okay, no training or anything. But how about the same thing in learning Japanese? You need to take the test first and then you start learning. Hey, in cybersecurity, that this is all about learning as well. So we should understand how to use different systems and what kind of threats and risks and what kind of impacts if something happens, what kind of impacts there could be, for example, the cyber attack. So I think in reality, many organizations have failed their people because they have failed to communicate in their terms and failed to support them in behaving a secure way. And as a result of this failing, people are vulnerable, and cyber criminals also, they know that. And they target people instead of technology when they execute their attacks. Well, here is some figures. While we all try to understand why the people are the primary attack vector for cyber criminals, it's also good to understand how we did get to this situation. It also very beneficial for the management to understand how to direct investment and resources to keep the organizations secure. Given fact is that 95% of all the attacks are due to human error, like we saw previously. And this graph shows the problem pretty well. When we compare the resources invested in security, typical operating systems, to amount of invested in securing employees, we can see quite a big difference here. And in technology bar, we should total up the cost securing a single computer in your organization, including cost for technologies such as antivirus or patch management or two-factor authentication. Maybe there's a VPN, full disk encryptions, and so on. We of course could think about that also. The help desk service is also the one of the cost. So let's say the cost for their computer could be something like between $50 to $150. This is just an example. It could be obviously a lot more. But then when we're thinking about a human investment, which would then include cost of security team members that are dedicated to securing and educating people, and cost could be something from $5 to $10. Perhaps in some cases it's zero. So our goal is once again to help leadership understand why people are the weakest link as well. And most likely that belongs some of your roles as well, that you first need to convince the management to give you the money that you can start training your own employees. And this is not the people are the weakest link here. It's not because people are bad or they are lazy or they are stupid, but because we have failed to do anything to secure the people in their terms. So we have basically failed to make the security simple for them. That's often a case. I'll show some numbers about that in a moment. Well, then another thing. Here is an investment in Windows operating system versus human operating system. It's always good to understand that technology is developing constantly. You don't even need to see all these small things here. They are basically just what Windows or Microsoft has been investing in resources to securing Windows operating system in past 20 years. This graph was made by James Lynn, who is a Chief Technology Officer for SUNS Institute. And here we can see human operating system. So in the same picture, we can actually see that organizations have done very, very little, almost nothing to secure the human operating system in comparison. And we can, of course, think about this another way as well. So technology is constantly developing. If you think about how life was 20 years ago, we hardly had mobile phones, and not that many people used computer in daily lives. And our brain hasn't changed a lot. I believe that still quite a few of those example learning methods works today that worked 20 years ago, because our operating system here has not changed that much. But yeah, we need to fix this, and I will tell you a bit more about the human operating system. And now I hope that most of you have understood already the problem, which is also not only the human vulnerabilities, but also the lack of investment on humans. Then one more thing is here that the cybersecurity awareness program often lacks the soft skills. As mentioned before, that cybersecurity is often considered as a technical controls and technical skills. But actually there is more and more need for persons with the soft skills. And it's not a surprise that in our awareness team at Nixu, we have quite a few people who have been previously working in communication or marketing. I have actually myself working in the media and marketing industry over 50 years before I started to work at Nixu. And now I actually understand that basically marketing is influencing people because we wanted to make people buy our products. So it's about a good example for social engineering, which is kind of trying to basically trick people to do something even though they don't necessarily want to do that. But yeah, here is other thing that more than 80% of security awareness officers have highly technical backgrounds, and this is very often the case. And if you think about this, this is one of the main reasons why security awareness programs often fail. So there is actually a communication issue between the technical people and then the people who are working in their daily lives. Basically, they are probably most likely not so interested in about the security. They are not we are quite passionate who work in the industry. They don't have the same passion, and we need to understand that. And we need to also understand the language. We have a lot of techie jargon around cybersecurity. Actually, I think the word cybersecurity is one of them, because if you go and ask from people what cybersecurity means, you get quite a different answers to that. So that's why I often say that maybe we should talk about just the security, or if we want to put physical security and digital security in the different places, maybe the digital security would be nice. And obviously there is also information security, but let's not go to that. But anyway, it really matters how and what are communicated to the people and how we can influence their mind, because we need to motivate them and make kind of guarantee that they learn these new things, even though they don't care. And we can see example in OT companies that the physical security is starting to be part of the DNA. They know, example, if there is a work where they need to wear, or there is a glasses or something, they know all these kind of safety features. But when it comes to the digital side of things, it's not so easy anymore, and things can be when techie people explain, it could be really too complicated. And there is the book called Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath. They are saying that the idea is kind of simple behind this, that the more of an expert you are on the topic, the potentially the worse you are at communicating it. And I think this is one of the cases in cybersecurity as well. But let's move forward. What are the elements of successful security awareness program? So taking this, like you would be then either managing it or maybe making a decision that you want to start training your people and make a successful awareness program. But hey, let's have one question here. Which one works better in cybersecurity awareness program? What do you think, carrot or stick? So put that surprising face if you think carrot and smiley face if you think it's a stick. Let's see what the other screen says. Any emojis? You can find them from the top bar in the Teams. At least one carrot comes, yeah, more carrots. Well, I would say neither one, because it's not that simple that we could force people to behave in a secure way. And sometimes benefit also might be challenging to promote an individual level. And instead of awareness program, it needs a holistic plan, execution and tracking of progress, and of course the impact on security culture across the whole organization. And next we will dive to the core elements of the successful awareness program. Well, what are the aims and the goals for proper security awareness program? I will tell you in a moment what is a proper security awareness program, of course. But firstly, the key goal should be that the awareness program is managing a human risk, and we need to change human behavior. When you want to change human behavior, it's quite a big deal. And that means that it takes time. I often say that we are on the marathon. This is not a 100 meters sprint. I will give you soon or showcase you a slide from SUNS, and jumping from maturity level to another can sometimes take years. It could be taking 3 years or even 5 years easily. And what we want to also raise awareness about is the cybersecurity threats, and obviously promote the ideal behavior models, and of course provide resources to protect company assets through different kind of education and sharing the good practices. So this is the way, the kind of main aim is to create a human firewall. And how is this then done? Well, firstly, a sip of water may help. So, first thing here, okay, hold 1 second. Okay, voice is coming back. So, what are the 5 core elements in a security program? We need a management support. So, top management. Often when we do surveys and ask questions from the employees, they say that why should we behave secure way and have these best practices in place? Because our management doesn't care. So we can, after all, think about that top and middle management. They need to support the program many ways. Well, obviously, they often are the people who give you the money. So as an investment, you need money and you need people, you need time. But not only that, they need to be like role models. If you have been reading news in UK, you know that the example, one person there, Boris Johnson, has not been really a role model because he has been giving directions and ordering people around. But what he has been doing, he has been partying during the lockdowns and stuff. So now we know that all the citizens of UK, they are quite mad at him because he has been behaving something else that he has been directing people to do. And that's a conflict already there. Then the next thing, the program is based on company's business strategy. We actually recently had a Strategy 22 project with Huoltovarmuuskeskus and Digipooli and those organizations, and discussed a lot about this, how the security should belong to their company's business strategy. And also the awareness program should be based on that, and hopefully the security is there in the business strategy. At least it should be, because it could be a big competitive advantage if it is there. Well, then security should be part of the business processes. That's a very, in OT environment, often the physical side of security is already there, but not the digital side. It has been forgotten, and it's always a new thing. And I know that there is often our old software and things like that, which then could be exposed to all kind of threats. And then we obviously need designated people, or rather people than just the one person, but someone needs to be responsible for implementation of the security program. And the last thing is that the organization should know their critical business processes, data, and systems also. They should be identified. Well then, what are then the objectives? So changing people's thinking, attitudes, behavior in relation to the security. That's the main thing. And then all these needs some indicators to measure the level of knowledge and competence of target groups. And this is, I think, the maturity. When I'm coming from marketing world, there the measuring of activities, example in communication, it was very basic stuff that we constantly did. We have been doing that years in digital marketing, for example. But this is quite new thing. It's recently we have been working with OT company, and they used to measure how many people have participated at their trainings, and that was a very compliance focused, and that there is nothing wrong with it. But if you want to measure, for example, the knowledge or the behavior change, you need other measurements as well to see how effective is your program, or is it effective? If it's not, you need to change something. And then obviously the material, they always should be professional in terms of content and all the visuals. And then regular communication is used all the time. As we know, people, even different age groups or different duties, they use different channels. We know that from also personal lives that you probably still have people who like to call you, but some people, they rather use WhatsApp or Signal or similar apps. And we know that many people, they like to watch TV. Some people like to listen radio. Some of them do both, or they don't actually. For example, me, I haven't watched TV in ages. Instead, actually now I'm lying because I watched a little bit TV this morning because I wanted to see when this skiing competition was ongoing. So I had her just I saw the kind of last minute when the Finland got a silver medal in Olympics, so that was a good moment. But yeah, I normally, though the sports is the only thing I watch live on TV. It's, you know, I don't need TV for watching TV. I get my content elsewhere, like our Netflix and such. And then, of course, we need to measure the organization maturity model, and I'll showcase you that in a moment. But yeah, we need to have the human in the center here. We need to understand we need to understand the technical stuff, but we need to also understand what's the kind of way of language we want to present these and how we can implement the instructions. They need to be, you know, readable, and people need to understand them very well. And people need to be motivated and willing to also change the attitude and behavior, and you need a positive environment for that. And we can say that learning occurs when from individual perspective, when something in his or her knowledge, skills, feelings, or thinking expands or changes. And it's not easy. These are not easy things. And the learning of individual employees are most influenced by the community around. So that's why I often say that I would like to measure the success of the awareness program the way that when the people are starting to discussing security in the coffee table. Well, now it's for the office worker like me. It's quite difficult because most of the time I am on my own at home, so I have no one to discuss. And I don't often call my colleagues just for chit chat. We normally have just an agenda to go through. And internally also a motivated person, they enjoy doing it for themselves and want to achieve good goals they value. And that's why I think the closer to heart you can go with the topic, this often means that you need to give directions that they can utilize at their personal lives. Luckily in security, it's quite easy to find the kind of a red line that it fits for your work life and leisure time as well. So then how you do this raising security awareness, it needs a constant regular communication, and you can do that many different ways. For OT environment, we know that very often the digital format is not good. So you could use example posters or brochures or maybe even written or printed newsletters. And then there could be trainings, there could be webinars, there could be workshops, and there is also gaming. For example, we have created a concept of escape room, which can happen in the meeting room. And of course, exercises. Recently, we have been working on some OT companies and doing exercises, for example, the ransom cases. So there is a cyber attack which basically locks some of their data, and they cannot work, and employees cannot work. This is a kind of similar case to happen, for example, Coop in Sweden, and they needed to close over 500 stores because they couldn't use the cashier the machines there. So that was quite a high impact, and you can think about the food. It started to rotten there because they needed to close the doors and so on. But yeah, how Nixu then approaches the awareness program, we use SUNS framework. So we need to understand the current status. So we do survey for that to kind of understand where we are now. Then we are setting the target state, and then we are starting to build the roadmap. Usually it's done for 1 year, and then the more in detail for first 6 months. And then the second or the next step for that is to implement the program and actively then also improve the security awareness and the culture. And then this is a continuous program, and we measure if something looks like that something is not working. We basically go back from planning a table, and then we educate and go to management and see here what's going on. We gather constantly the lessons learned, and if we think that something is not working, every organization is really different. And I have been talking about this maturity model a lot, so here it is. This is based on SUNS security awareness maturity model, and most of the companies, they are here. They are either in gray area and yellow area, and they want to move to the green and blue. And here the yellow area is compliance focused. So basically there is a requirement, could be coming from ISO standard or somewhere else, and you need to basically tick in the box. It could be one awareness training a year. And must say that remember that learning is not an event. It's not just one event. Learning is continuous process. Remember that Japanese exams. So if you want success in your Japanese language exam, you need to really start learning, and it's not happening in one session. You need multiple sessions to start practicing the grammar and vocabulary, and even learning to write Japanese would be quite a challenge. But yeah, this is how we measure, and from jumping, let's say, from the gray area to even the green area could take, let's say, 3 years. So there is a need to be quite patient in here. Then something that is good to keep in mind, that if learning isn't fun, it won't be very effective. So this is not actually just a sneaking suspicion I have. It's actually a cold, hard scientific fact. And here is a couple things I have put together. So neurologist Judy Willis found that fun experiences increase level of dopamine, endorphins, and oxygen, and all things that promote learning and so on. So we need to remember that when we keep things fun and pleasure and excitement, well, we can call it whatever we want, but this is kind of a essential ingredient in any training endeavor. It's basically an engagement as well. So that's why gamifying has been coming to the cybersecurity in recent years. Okay, let's have a look if there's any questions. Now would be a good time. No questions. Feel free to put any questions in the chat, so we'll have a look of that later on. But let's have a look of the elements then. What are those elements that belongs to cybersecurity awareness program? So I already mentioned that it starts with the survey to kind of get the understanding of the kind of knowledge what people have, and what they actually even think about the management, and do they get the support they needed. But it could be so much more. It should be continuous, and in OT environment, as mentioned, digital channels are always not the option. So here is a couple examples of the poster. These are from KnowBe4 platform, which we are using and also selling as one of the awareness solution to our clients. They could be saying, resist the USB attack, or then there could be more information. And then you need to think about once again the marketing way, that where is the good place. You'd never probably believe it, but a door is actually very good place to put stuff, because normally people are either going around on their mobile phone, or they look at the wall. wall there, and they have a moment, they have the time, because usually people are so busy that they have difficulties to calm down and concentrate. As we know, I think it was Microsoft who was saying that our concentration is like similar with the goldfish, so we can concentrate a few seconds on one thing. And then here is a cartoon. I would like to get to know you a bit or bite better. I don't mingle with strangers. So obviously this is about warning about USB signs. These kind of things could be put on the digital screens. If there is digital screens that companies are using for information. So we have a series of things like this, or these could be also printed, or they can be used as a digital format. Let's say you have in Teams, or maybe you have a Yammer for your office workers, and they have a, let's say, security channel that you can give them a small pieces of information. So these kind of cartoons could be used there. As mentioned earlier, we use technology also. Hoax Hunt, it's a phishing platform. I showcase you in a moment what it does, and then the KnowBe4, it also has the phishing tool, but it also have a quite extensive content library, and there's a videos, there's a posters, there's a newsletters, and so on. And then also Confence, which is also a phishing platform. But here is a Hoax Hunt example. Let's see if we can get that GIF working there. So the idea is that you get these messages on your inbox, and then there is a Hoax Hunt button that you need to report the message and say that it was phishing, and then it gives you stars. So it's also gamified. So here again, you let me try that again. No, okay, it doesn't want to. Let's put the GIF on from there. So you would click here that it's a phishing message, and it gives you explanation that how you can recognize that it was actually a phishing. And then you get points, and this is an ongoing program. So in the long run, you can get those stars. And it has actually quite a new features coming as well. But it's very gamified, and it's a good way to teach people about phishing via email. Then the next one is a microlearning elements. So already the name is kind of saying they are small information packages. They could be videos, they could be blogs, or they could be those posters, or cartoons, or videos, or whatever. And it's just something that people can easily digest. It may take just 1 minute or even less. The example picture here is from COVID-19 and privacy, kind of a checklist that you need to think about. And then one of the good things are also exercises. It could be crisis communication exercise, or it could be let's say incident response exercise, or just a crisis management, any kind of crisis management situation. Or it could be something has happened already, and you think, how could that actually, how it's possible that could happen, and then why it's done. So basically, it's a practice for real case. So you would understand how the whole organization is working, and this gives a nice kind of real world experience, and it could be organized for several different stakeholders. Sorry, recently we have been organizing this, for example, communication team and IT and security teams, because they often has a lack of communication in between, because often they don't actually even understand each other. That's often a case, and it's very, very, very normal. But here is some examples of the activities, and then there needs to be always kind of a red line that you have the key messages, and people know that this is a kind of, this element is part of the bigger program. And kind of summarize things. So well-designed and implemented security awareness program is the key. to create a positive and strong security culture. Everything starts from there. And obviously, the digitalization has increased the importance of security in companies and organizations. For example, I'll give you a little example. Nowadays, quite a few companies are changing to these cloud services. So human error is present quite easily. It could be a little thing, sharing a document to a whole world instead of just your colleagues or one person. It's you cannot always secure everything, and there's always unfortunately place for human error. And obviously, their information and cybersecurity, they have then created a new challenges for the organizations in terms of employee security awareness, and often it's the case that there's not enough expertise in own organization, or there's not enough time and resources. So this definitely needs an effort as well. If you want to kind of understand the challenges that there's the situation in Ukraine and Russia, it's interesting to see how currently, for example, some of the websites are not working. There has been issues with the banking and things like that. So there's a serious case going on there. Hey, now we have a moment for the questions. Do you have any questions in mind? You can also obviously open your microphone and ask.
Hey, I have
yeah, go for it, Laura.
2 questions actually.
Yeah.
So you were talking about good role models in cybersecurity. So what kind of person is a good role model? And the second question is that it's not so many women in this
industry
doing this. So what is your, like, how did you do this?
Okay, well, let's go first to I take your role model question now as a normal employee in the organization. So for example, you could build a security champion program, and you could place like a person who knows a bit more about cybersecurity in the team, and that could be point of contact. One of the kind of issues we have, cybersecurity, information security, and I think security in general, it is quite a scary topic. If you make a mistake, you understand that there can be a serious consequences. So we need to kind of create the culture which is very open for discussions and asking for help, and especially reporting any kind of suspicious activity. And that's why you need to have a good role models who are kind of easy to get along with, and you could go and ask, and hey, can you help me with this little thing? The little thing could be suspicious emails or something, and maybe it's your manager, maybe it's someone else in the team, but security champion kind of program is a good. So the idea is that you have this kind of influencers in the organization, and they are quite close to you, because obviously it's difficult that if you have, let's say, if you have a big organization, you have, let's say, 10,000 people working in the organization. So if the only people there are the security people who can give you an advice, you probably are lacking some resources. So role model is someone who knows at least a little bit of security, is motivating and encouraging and showcasing and supporting people. And then the other question, how I ended up in security. So I started my professional career in marketing and media already a long time ago. And I used to work in London for 5 years. And when I moved back to Finland, I thought, okay, I need a professional certificate, and I was thinking what I'm going to do. I always was the kind of a IT person. Example, when I used to work for YLE, they were scared of this little thing called mouse, and I helped them. They were the digitalization was just starting, so they needed to start do their travel expenses through the new platform, digital platforms and stuff. So I was their kind of a IT person for that they could help. I could kind of help them out to do those, and it's technology have been interesting, and I then started to study engineering. And did that, and somehow I ended up in the workshop. It was an event, I think it was a Women in Tech event, where was a workshop hosted by F-Secure, and we thought about the security from different perspective. I was part of the senior group, so I tried to think about the security through lenses of 60 or 70-year-old. Which obviously security is also quite a big thing for them. Thinking of my own mother, who has been a hairdresser, so she has never used a computer to, for her bookings or anything, for her basically professional life. So her digital skills are not that good at the moment. So she also needs help. And then that's kind of what's got me convinced that this could be something that after my school, I could be doing something to do with cybersecurity. I started to mingle in the cybersecurity events and meet the new people. And then I started to organize some events myself, and also became a trainer in this MPK, which is our English. In English is a volunteer. What is called in MPK? I cannot remember what is in English. Maanpuolustuskoulutusyhdistys in Finnish. Anyway, I started to do training there, and I also participate the exercise courses, and that kind of got me so hooked that here I am today. And I said marketing background in security is actually a good thing, because you have been basically influencing people, and now you're kind of trying to have the agenda around and help them out and not get hooked with also marketing stuff. That could be scamming as well. Any other questions? Maybe saying a few things about the women in cybersecurity. Yeah, it's depending on which report look at, but the numbers are not good. Globally, we are lacking people a lot. It doesn't matter, is it a female or male, we just or any other genre, but we really lacking people. So if anyone is interested to work in cybersecurity, there is a seriously good opportunities in this industry. You don't always need to be technical one. As said, in my own kind of network, if I put my like family and friends, I'm super technical. But if I compare myself to our digital forensics investigators, I can say that I'm far from the technical side. So we need also people who understand the risks and who can help, for example, translating things from IT and security people to management, for example. There is actually a new fancy word for that, for a fancy title, like an engagement director, who is translating the words, difficult words, to people who really need to understand the big picture only. It's not always easy. So any questions? Feel free to open the mic and ask, or then just write. I have the chat on front of me. I have one more slide though. If there's no questions, I think this is so well said that if you think technology can solve your security problems, then you do not understand the problems, and you don't understand the technology. So Bruce Nair is a thought leader in field of cybersecurity, and also author of 7 security books, and he has numerous awards and honorary PhD from University of Westminster, and he first thought that cryptography can solve all the security problems. He thought that's the key. But now he's actually one of the largest proponents that security must be approached from the human perspective. So I can encourage, he has his own website, it's hissurname.com, so it's a Sneyer, it's difficult to most likely spell, but HTTPS in the beginning and comma at the end around his surname, so you get to his website. But he has a good books, and I think this is just well said. It's all about the humans and the human firewalls. Of course, we need the technical controls as well, but we need to handle the people, educate them, and make sure that they are on top of the business as well, and we can then protect the assets of the company. And I think the cybersecurity skills are something that should be already taught in the at school when kids go to like a first grade and such. So it should start there, because most likely most of them already have their own mobile phones and they do gaming and things like that. But there's a lot of change needs to be happening. All right, I will